Hello everyone and welcome back to my sewing room. If you're new to my channel, my name's Diane and I like to share with you the things that I've been doing in my sewing room. I missed last week because I had a very special visitor staying with us. My sister flew over from Spain to spend some time with us and we had a really lovely time, and so I didn't get very much done last week at all, but this week I've been catching up on a few things, and so I have been buying fabric. I still had some birthday treat money. I don't know if it's just me or my imagination, but I'm filming this to go out on the 28th of February, the last day of February, and this year it just seems to be flying by. I don't really know what's happened. I think when I was young, I used to think I had the capacity to slow time down. When I was out playing with my friends in the fields, by the river, in the woods, we used to make days last forever. And now they're just over with. And so, last day of February. So let me share with you the fabric haul. First of all, before I do that, I will share with you the finish of the Dancing in the Dark quilt. And so if you remember, in my last video I'd finished the flimsy and I managed to jump out on a nice sunny day between showers and film that for you. So I did have some of the dancing dahlias in a lovely sort of yellowy brown with a touch of teal aqua colour dahlias in the back. So I thought that would be, and it was a wide back, so that would be perfect for the backing. So I used that and just sat on my domestic sewing machine and I quilted it together in my favourite cross hatch, and it's robust, it's come together really nicely. I'm going to put this one in my folksy shop, so I've got a little label on the front, and as you can see from the binding, I've taken the backing and folded that over to the front, and that's the binding. There's 2 rows of stitching to add to the robustness of the quilt. And so that is the lovely quilt. I will show you some images now on the washing line. In the sunshine, blowing gently in the breeze, you can just see what a beautiful blue sky we have. Now for you in the southern hemisphere or warmer climes, that is a day-to-day activity. My sister who lives in Spain, that's her daily experience, beautiful blue skies. But us, it's usually a sort of variation of grey. And it finished at 60 inches square, 135 centimetres, and so it's a nice size for a throw or as a bed topper. So like I say, that one's in my shop and waiting for its new home. Sometimes I look at some of the quilts that have been in my shop for a while, and after a while, if there's no takers, then I will remove them from my shop and I will donate them to project liners. I just like making the quilts and I don't want them to live in a cupboard somewhere, so if there is no takers for that bright, glorious colourway, then I'm sure someone in project liners will appreciate it at some point. So I did show you when I made the design that I had been playing around with some of the blocks, and the design that I'd created for it was looking a little bit tatty. If you recall, about 3 videos ago, I had got to the centre, I'd made all the blocks, I'd got to the centre and it didn't quite fit. And so I changed the centre block, enlarged that a little bit, and so I could create a construction in a sort of big 9 patch. And so what I have provided now is a black and white image of the design, and then I've broken it down into a 9 patch, and then I've taken all of the individual blocks and I've put those together and labelled those and with letter alphabetically, and then I filled in those alphabets into the blocks, the corresponding blocks on the quilt. And I did colour in an image to sort of show you a colourway of your choice if you wanted. And I will put that on my community page. And so again, there's been quite a few people asking me how to access that. So if you go to my homepage, and then there's a list of links, and if you hit the community page or posts, you'll see them there, and I'll put all the details on. I also had a message, I think it was from Julie, I'm sorry if I haven't got your name correct, who was asking about the size of the quilt, and she said she wanted to make it in her own colourways, I think, but a king size. And so I thought about making it larger. I don't make very big quilts because I work on my small domestic sewing machine here and I quilt on that, and you know, not much bigger than 60 is comfortable for me, so I sort of like to work around that size. But I did have a think about how it would look if I continued out with the design, and so I took the design out and enlarged it, and this image here I shall also put on my community page. And so enlarged, this one finishes at 85.5 inches square, and of course you can put borders on to make it whatever size you like. But I think that would look really nice as a large quilt, so if any of you do enlarge it and create it, it'd be lovely to see it on our community posts. So like I say, all those details you'll find there. And that is it for the quilting. I did think these works in progresses, my projects, I wanted to do a little bit of something to keep those going, because if I don't work on them, they're not a work in progress, are they? They're something else entirely. And so I did a little bit, hardly anything. Like I say, I didn't have very much time. So I just joined together a row of red with a cream and a cream with a red centre, squares within squares, and I alternated those because in my Christmas bar quilt or row quilt, I was thinking it might be nice to have some smaller rows, shallower rows across the quilt, and they finish at 3 inches. So I thought I'd put some strips of those between the designs. I think that might look quite nice. Thinking perhaps I need 4. So I did 1. That's all I had the pieces for and the time. And I also made some more squares within squares for another ongoing quilt. I'm thinking I might have an idea for a design for that. Not ready to work on it yet, but I used up some of the Dancing Dahlia fabric and I made some more squares within squares with the leftover smaller scraps. Oh, I just want to mention my diary. I'm still keeping up with that. Now, I do, if you comment or ask me a question and I think I'm better to answer by voice than text, I will in the following video. So I do make a note of it in this lovely little diary. And Ola, who lives in France, she commented and she asked where I get my batting from, if I could provide the address of the people that supplied the roll of batting that I bought, and it was Morris Work, so I'll put the detail on the screen now. I don't know whether they ship to France or not, but I know that there's a viewer, Anya, and she lives in the Netherlands and she makes lots of beautiful quilts. If you watch Sherry McGill on Lessons Learned, Anya sometimes features her quilts on the parade on a Friday. But if you're watching Anya, perhaps you might like to say where you get your cotton batting from, or your batting from, leave a comment, because I think because England, UK left Europe with Brexit, we have lots and lots of surcharges and taxes that we have to pay when we're exporting and importing things like batting, you know, or fabric. And it might be cheaper for Ola to perhaps get some fabric, some batting from the Netherlands, if that's available. So just a thought, you know, all quilters together helping each other out where we can. So I've left the Morris Works for you, and fingers crossed that you can get some. Must be very frustrating not to be able to finish your quilts at a reasonable price. So that was all of the sewing done, finished really, for what I wanted in February. But as you can see, I've started on my traditional antique vintage type quilt, and this has led me down a huge rabbit hole. I think the trouble I had was because there are so many beautiful ones out there, and I didn't want to copy one exactly. I wanted to put elements of quilts that I like, vintage quilts, in a quilt. And so I started collecting some of the vintage fabric, you know, sort of designs. But there's too much. There's too much fabric out there, and I was led astray. So I started off by popping back to my local craft shop, and I bought another fat quarter bundle. There's only 4 pieces in the fat quarter bundle, so I now have half a yard of each of the designs that I had. And you can see this lovely little brown on the left with a little teal flower in flexing. I bought another metre of that as well. That's all they had in that design. It was the last fat quarter bundle they had, and that's the only design they were carrying, so I bought a metre of that. And I bought this lovely teal that works well with the William Morris fabric that I have. And then there's this sort of moderner design, but I think I'm going to use that. The colours work well. The design, although it's sort of Art Deco, I would say, I think it works well together. So I'm going to use that. And I had this lovely brick red, it's called. I really like it. It is leaning towards the brown. I think quite a few people don't like brown fabrics, but I like it, and I think it'll work well in this quilt. And so I am using the Robert Kaufman as the background, and I'm using bits of William Morris fabric that I've saved. And I think my next blocks around, I'm going to do some monkey wrench. I think I'm keeping this one for myself so I can choose the fabrics, but I did buy a lot of fabrics that I bought as sort of vintagey, little ditzy, small daisy types, and it won't be going into this. So I'll show you the fabric that I bought while I was collecting vintage antique style. And so you can see there are a lot of fabrics there, and I'm not going to use some of those. That beautiful little almost like a forget-me-not flower. They're just about to come into flower in my garden at the moment, forget-me-nots. I love those. But I won't be using those because I'm using a cream background, and I think the white is a little bit stark in that modern colour. But I will show you all the fabrics up close and the fabric selection I've made when I show you that quilt, the flimsy probably, before I get onto the quilting. So that'll be coming soon. So, oh, I did make another purchase of fabric as well. Now, I went on to the sale site that I use, Rainbow Fabrics, because I'm looking for a wide back for this, and I thought I'd found one. I'd ordered one. It was a mustard, a cotton, and with a little cream leaf on, and I thought that would be perfect for the back, and I would have incorporated some of that into the front. And so I made the order. I went on, saw that fabric, made the order, and while I was there they had a fabric sale, and it was 99p a metre. And I just thought, for 99p a metre, like I say, I make a lot of Project Liners quilts, and I am planning Christmas quilts, and I'm planning to make a Halloween quilt. I think I'm getting a selection of that, and so I'll show you the 3 fabrics I bought at 99p a metre and how much I bought. So I bought that and waited for the order. I had an email and they said that the backing was damaged. Do I still want it? They sent me an image of the backing, and if I was just going to use it as pieced fabric, I would have had it. But there was a strip all the way down the centre where the die hadn't taken, and there's a white piece. So I couldn't really use that as the backing. I didn't want to be joining. So I am still going onto the site looking for a suitable backing for this. But if I don't find one, I shall complete the flimsy, and then I will pop that away and I will wait patiently. I will probably be distracted by other purchases, but I'm getting quite a nice stack of fabric now, and I've got lots of fabric that I've processed, and so I'm just ready to start making lots and lots of quilts. I've got lots of fabric for Project Liners, lots of ideas, so yeah, very, very busy future, I think, for me. And if you've been watching me collect little plants to go on my windowsill, spring bulbs, I've been growing those, hyacinths and tulips, and as they've finished I've taken the dead heads off and I've put them out in the garden, so they're all going away okay. They'll be hopefully okay for next year. And you can see from this image of my windowsill pots that I was tempted to buy this lovely purpley blue. I think it belongs to the Campanula family. There isn't a label on it when I bought it, but that's what the flower and the leaves look like to me. And I thought that would look lovely. I bought some bulbs, some little narcissi, tete-a-tete, and I thought that would look nice together. The purpley blue and the yellow, nice spring freshness. Unfortunately, the Campanula brought some black fly with them, and so I've decided that spring on the windowsill has finished for the year. I'm just going to enjoy spring in the garden, and I have put them all out in the garden. I'm put the Campanula in a sheltered spot. So far it's doing okay, so hopefully it hardens up, and I'll get a season from it at least in the garden. And spring has definitely come to the garden now. The bulbs are all up, they're in bud, lots of primulas are coming out, and if you have a look at this little archway here, it's covered in ivy, and it's a step down into the little secret garden at the bottom, and we've got robins that are building a nest, so I've been out watching those. They're quite friendly. I can go in and out to my garage door and they're not disturbed by that. So they're busy in there building the nest. And all the clematis around the garden are budding everywhere. I'll give you a little spin around the garden, and to the crocus. So when I plant things in my garden, I'm always thinking about the bees, the birds and the bees. And I'm hoping to try and have a succession of food for the bees. And so I do like to put out the crocus because they're one of the earlier flowers. But the weather has been so bad, so wet and windy, too cold really for the bees to be flying anyway, and the crocus came up, but they didn't open their goblet heads, they just stayed closed because there was no sun to open them up. But we did have a couple of days where we had some lovely sunshine, and it was worth it. I will show you, finish this video with a bee that is having his first spring banquet, It was so joyous to watch. Got my hands and knees and just watched him, and he was in and out, drunken on nectar. And so I think that's a fitting way to finish this spring video, to be drunk on nectar. So I hope that wherever you are in the world, I hope you're coping with whatever the weather is throwing at you. It has been challenging for a lot of people, and so we can always look forward to better times ahead. Stay optimistic, and I will see you again soon, hopefully with more to tell about this one. So look on the community page if you want the design, and I'll speak to you again next week. See you soon. Bye. Mm-hmm.